Hey guys, we are back at Covenant, and today we have a tour of some more housing, as well as a brothel and some living quarters for the workers the pack have for sale here. Now my frame rates have dropped really low here at Covenant, so my decoration isn't quite as much as it usually is, but I still think it ended up looking pretty cool. Also, if you notice any stuttering in today's video, that's also related to my frame rate issue. Now, just a quick reminder, I will be live streaming my first playthrough of Fallout 76 over on my Twitch channel, which is linked below. So if you have a chance, go ahead and stop on by and hang out. Well, with that said, let's get started, shall we? Well, let's start things off with the walk around of the exterior. Now here we have the brothel. You can see there's one of the workers leaning against the wall near that bonfire. And of course there's a pile of bodies there. I mean, they are raiders after all. That is a lot of bodies. Wonder what's going on over there. And that brings us to a small barracks. Now, if you remember from two videos ago, where we built the throne room, we learned that the commander of this outpost is pretty paranoid, so he keeps a small contingency of his most trusted soldiers, inside the walls with him, and that's where they live. Before we take a look in there, let's take a walk around back. You can see there's just junk laying around on the ground everywhere. Raiders aren't really known for cleaning up. They just collect stuff while they're scavenging and just let it lay everywhere. Now back here we have a little more junk storage. You can see there's a string trimmer there and bombed out shelf, some traffic cones. What is that? Even a water dispenser? What do we have going on back here? Well, looks like we have a few bears that are taken after the raiders. They have a little arena set up. What are they, fighting gnomes? Well, let's get out of here before they decide to turn on us. Just back out nice and slow. Alright, I think we're safe now. Now let's head on inside this barracks and see how these soldiers live. Oh, looks like they knocked over that mailbox. And here we are at these living quarters. Looks like it's pretty messy in here. Fairly consistent with the raiders. Got a little bit of storage at the foot of this bed. And of course one of those pack chairs. Looks like some food laid out, as well as a little bit of alcohol. Of course there's a human skull. And over in this corner, looks like we have a little bit of chems laid out. Some mentats and psycho. Yeah, that's quite the good time in there. Now over here we have another bed. I really like using the furniture from Thematic and Practical. It has a really nice junky feel to it. And I'll go ahead and link all the mods I use in a Google Doc in the description down below. Now over here we have a little seating area. Looks like some more chems laid out and some beer as well. And then, of course, a few paint cans there on the ground. I mean, they are the pack after all. They're always painting stuff. Now, heading out here, we can check out that small fort that's attached to this house. Serves as a good barrier in between the private and more public areas of the interior of the settlement here. Now, before we go inside, let's check out the roof. Climb this very makeshift ladder. Now up here, we have a little bit of a lounge area. I mean, they are raiders after all, and they're going to spend most of their time hanging out. Looks like these guys are playing some checkers, doing some psycho, having a little beer. And they have quite the view of the interior of the settlement. Good look at the bar over there. And then over here, looks like some explosives crates, as well as a rifle sitting out there. And then, of course, we have another seating area over here with some food and some beer laid out. Looks like a little bit of chems as well. You even have a comic book sitting open there. Now, walking over this way, we get a view of a little bit of a skylight of sorts. Looks down into one of the sleeping areas for the workers. And that brings us to a guard, just keeping an eye out, making sure the workers don't get rowdy at all. Looks like she has some jet as well as a Nuka-Cola Quantum. Well, let's head back downstairs and check out the rest of this build, shall we? Now that we're back downstairs, we can take a closer look at that pile of bodies. Looks like they're all ghouls. That was quite the battle. Now heading on in, we have another seating area here. This guy's got a bowl of noodles and some ammo laid out. Then, of course, that brings us to another table. Looks like some weapons and explosives, a little bit of alcohol and shock collars. I imagine this little entryway serves as a check-in for any workers that are newly acquired. They can get their shock collars and then are put into storage. Now, this first structure here is a little bit of housing for any of the brothel workers that aren't currently on duty. You can go ahead and share this bed down here. Then, of course, more junk just piled around. They really just throw that stuff anywhere. Then here's another look at that makeshift skylight. Now coming around this way, we have another little shack set up. Now this is more for troublesome workers, causing any mischief. Might have to spend some time chained up. Or at least they have a bucket there to relieve themselves in, somehow. Now walking around this way, we can see the other part of that shack. And it looks like it's just a mattress stacked on some pallets there. Now these guys don't have a whole lot of belongings. I mean, they are pretty much just trapped in here until they're sold off. Of course, we have some raider cages, and it looks like one of the workers, at least, turned that into a little makeshift shack. At least you have a little protection from the rain. Now walking around this way, we have another little makeshift shack. Sleeping on the ground in a sleeping bag, that can't be too much fun. Now walking back this way, of course, even more junk. And this is where the workers are fed. When we get to the end of this little corridor here, you can see just on the other side of the wall, there's that grill. And the pack members will just throw the food over the wall, and workers will have to pick through the trash to get any food. Now let's go check out that brothel, shall we? I really did enjoy putting this place together. I love how junky it looks. It fits in really well with the rest of the settlement, which, by the way, is nearly complete. And that brings us to the brothel. You can see there's a pretty good sized bonfire there lighting the way. And of course we have one of the workers just leaning out here, waiting for new clients. Now let's head on inside, shall we? Well, that is quite the display there. Some chemicals, and of course more paint sitting out. And over here we have a little waiting area. Looks like there's some beer and liquor sitting out, as well as some chems. And here we have a side entrance. Let's take a look and see if I can figure out how to open a door. And we can see here there's just a quick entrance if you've only come here for this particular reason. And walking over here, we have the beds. Not a whole lot of privacy, but they are raiders. I don't think privacy is too high on their list. And coming over to this door, opens out into that sleeping area for any of the brothel workers. And you can see there in between the beds we have an ashtray as well as some buff out in case you I guess need to perform a little better. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. Drop me a comment down below if you have any thoughts about this build or ideas for a build you'd like to see. I always love reading your comments. Subscribe if you want to see when my next video goes live. We should be back here at Covenant for the final tour. I do have a few things that I want to build outside of a video, just to let there be a little bit of a surprise for the final tour. So there may be another video in between now and then, just to give me a little bit of time to do that. And I will be live streaming Fallout 76 over on my Twitch channel starting tomorrow, and that channel is linked down below. So check that out if you're interested. I'd love to have you swing by. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and until then, enjoy your time in the Commonwealth.